All I can say, it'll be good on the palate. Anyway, it's an unplug. Okay, we are going to continue on. We're going to do this one more time, or this week, and then we're going to go into the holiday stuff. But I had to do this because I was wanting to do pepper steak. And my friend Meredith, if you want to look like that, we're going to help you get there. Well, we're going to try to. Anyways, okay, so this pepper steak is awesome because it's got a lot of different great ingredients, obviously peppers. We're going to start with a little red onion. It's about a medium red onion chop. And then we're going to use ribeye today. Now, the cool thing about this is this has to set and cook down, okay? So this is a dish that you can start and then when you get home from work and then finish it off right before you get ready to eat it, okay? Because the beef has to cook quite a bit. And we're going to make a kind of an alternative to soy sauce, which a lot of folks don't like the sodium in soy sauce. We're going to add some ribeye to this. This is strips of ribeye. Don't you love how I just act like the meat? So it's just ribeye. Just ribeye. You could use skirt steak as well. You could also use flank. You could use sirloin if you wanted. But
ribeye have the best taste.
Well, ribeye has. I'll tell you why I like the ribeye idea. The ribeye has a lot of fat in it, so there's a lot of marbling, so there's a lot of fat in it. So it'll be able to add a little bit of flavor to it as well. Okay. Now you're going to add just a little bit of garlic to this little mess here as well. And then we're also going to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar, which these are all items that are fun for Meredith because she loves tangy stuff.
I do.
Kind of the pickle, sour things. We're going to add a little bit of that too. Now, this other sauce we're going to make here is a lot of people don't want to use the soy sauce. Oh, and we used coconut oil in here to begin with. So, which I guess Meredith's going broke by.
Which I learned you have to take out a loan for.
Yeah, I told you. I tried to tell you last week. Okay. So, anyways, we've got
Amarillo National Bank.
That's right. We've got a little balsamic vinegar and a little bit of sesame oil, which I know you have a little bit left, right?
I do.
After you spilt it. Okay.
Whole thing.
And then we're going to add some fish sauce to it. Okay. Now, a lot of folks, you can buy fish sauce, very inexpensive. Great way to add some flavor to it. And we're going to add about a half a cup to this. Now, what you're doing here is you're basically building a little bit of a broth for this to cook in. But you're going to want to let this come to a boil, and you want to cover the meat as best you can in water as well, okay? All this is part of the tenderization process of cooking the meat down, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to cook this down for about a half hour, and then when we come back, we'll add peppers to it. I've got peppers of all different kinds, red, orange, green, which adds a lot of color to this. Now, one of the things, I love pepper steak. I think pepper steak's a real cool dish. A lot of people, it's kind of a traditional dish. A lot of people don't do it properly. I think one of the things you want to do with it is make sure that you get it all covered so it tenderizes. And then this sauce is going to cook down. It's going to reduce, like we've talked about reducing things before. It's going to reduce it down and it'll become kind of thick. And then when we add the peppers to it and stir fry it, it'll add the pepper flavor to it. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper after it cooks a little bit. One thing I want to add though, even though our friend here is, if you want to look, turn sideways. If you want to look like this, that's great. But we also could put this over some whole wheat rice, and we'll go to town.
There you go.
So you got a lot of options.
Right in there.
Yeah, you have options with this dish. This is one of the reasons why I like doing it, other than it just being a protein. And
we'll top it off. Coming up, we've got more next up. Stick around.
I want to stick to the ribs too.
Smells like breakfast to me, bud. This is a very healthy dish that doesn't seem. It seems like even I could make it.
All of these have been geared toward your incredible culinary skills.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm glad you brought that up because actually last week when we did the salmon cakes, I always judge a meal on how long it takes me to clean up afterwards. This one and that one are so simple. There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
And what I really like about this dish, and we've added the peppers. I don't know if we can get a picture there.
It's so
See
pretty.
how pretty it is?
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
I like
and
it.
the fun thing is you have the red bells, the green bells, the yellow bell. You can put yellow. We got oranges in there, orange bell in there today. But what I really like about this is you're creating a lot of different flavors using some really simple things. Now Meredith made the comment earlier about she's going to go broke with the oil, and it's like we said last week. It's not it's not real expensive. But it's a little bit more expensive than regular oil.
Yeah, it's so much
lasts
forever.
It'll last forever.
Yeah.
You'll have that for a long, long time.
You don't have to use a whole lot of it.
And so I think there's a big plus side. We talk about doing these meals for folks, and obviously I'm kind of gearing stuff towards her diet last week and this week. But I'll tell you, this is a meal you can make pretty inexpensively in regards to your family. And like I said, you don't have to use ribeye. I just happen to have some ribeye. You could use skirt meat. You could use sirloin. There's all kinds of opportunities and proteins you could use in it. So I really think it's something you should try. Now, I did do this because I know that not everybody's on this diet, so that I won't say anymore because I guess I'm, say, paleo and it's paleo.
Because Anthony wants to gain weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want food. I want some meat.
And with that in mind, I've got some Uncle Ben's whole grain rice here. And you can just throw it over the top of that, and you will have yourself a what'd you call it earlier? A rib sticking meal.
Yeah.
And then, or you could just serve it on here, just as it is. And I wanted you to see that sauce kind of reduces down. See?
Yeah.
So you get kind of a. Again, it's a real pretty meal. I think it's also one of those that the longer you cook this, the more the sauce will reduce. I think it's about right now because you get a nice little. It's not real thick, but you get a nice little sauce with it. This is a real nice opportunity for you to try something new and use very few ingredients. The peppers, the meat. You know, we talked about the fish sauce. This is kind of an alternative. There's a coconut amino, I think it's called, that is made from fermented coconut. That is, I mean, some of this stuff is just way out there. So a lot of people are, well, it is. I mean, people are, most folks aren't going to buy it unless they're on the diet.
Right.
So you have opportunities like with the fish sauce, the sesame oil, and the balsamic vinegar, all items that you can buy, you know.
And it's so much less salt, you know, Americans.
That's the thing, yeah, that's the thing. It's, yeah, and I think that's the big thing is a lot of the sodium goes away because but I like this idea rather than the soy sauce. So I do think the soy sauce adds a lot of sodium to the dish.
Yeah.
Once the meat was in, was that roughly 30 minutes you cooked it?
Yeah, well, we got off like 7 or 6:20, so 6:50 now. So yeah, about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the big key to that is you want to make sure you get all the ingredients in there to add the water because look at that's beautiful. You add the water, and the water kind of helps with the tenderizing the meat. So if you're using something like a flank steak or a skirt meat or something like that, you're going to want to let it cook. 'Cause it's going to now this tenderloin is probably good, or ribeye is probably good the way it was. But yeah, it's a good question. You want to cook it down, and it kind of adds an aroma throughout the house as you do it. So you got a lot of. I think again we're going to go into holiday stuff now. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll do some alternatives to turkey.
Okay.
Some pork, some quail, stuff like that. Some lamb. So we're going to do some things that are a little bit different that give you an alternative to the usual turkey, but we'll do turkey at the end there. So
now, whenever you've taught me some really good tips about cooking meat, that like you get it to room temperature before you throw it on anything, so that way you're not overcooking it just to get the cold out of it. Did you marinate this in anything? Or
no, and that's a really good question. It's something that I don't do a lot of is marinate. I don't marinate a lot of stuff, mostly because I'm a firm believer that actually when it comes to steaks and stuff like that, I'm a salt and pepper guy. You buy quality meat, you'll get, you kind of get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So if you do get a piece of meat that's a really good question, Meredith. Doing this in the water eliminates having to marinate it.
Okay.
And it's kind of like when I braise things, it's the same thing. You're trying to tenderize it a little bit. So it's a good question. I just don't marinate a lot, so.
Okay.
So
I like it.
Quality. It's one of those things where I always say, whenever I do a menu, I always say quality food, quality price.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing. You kind of get what you pay for. So sometimes I may lead you in a way to buy something that may seem a little bit more expensive, but you're getting what you pay for.
Right.
And especially when it comes to the protein, you want to get something that's got a nice flavor, good marbling in it, and especially like it with a ribeye. But I don't marinate a lot of things. But like I said, doing stuff like this and braising meat in water, you're adding the natural flavor back into the meat rather than adding something to the meat.
All right. Well, Bud, thank you
Very
so much.
nice.
You're so welcome.
Like breakfast
Much appreciated.
to me,
We'll
sir.
see you next week.
All right. We'll wrap some things up. Stick around.